All right, let's record. Still have no internet. Man, it's like, what, 6 o'clock on Wednesday? Man. Ooh, it's going to be a while. Yeah, it's going to be a while. So, we've gotten pretty far. We're on Eileen's team now, third pick. Eileen always has fun with her draft. This is her redemption team with a little help from Sarah since Vivian was MIA at her baby shower. For someone else, obviously. But so let's dig into it. So first pick, third overall. I want to say Zeke Elliott. No surprise there. Eileen took him last year. And he's a really good player. I'm just pulling up on my phone again because the internet's still out, so I gotta pull out some of the information I got on here. I gotta pull up the draft board. But I know it was definitely Zeke Elliott in the first round. And obviously, everyone really likes Zeke Elliott as far as a fantasy player. We won't get into all the other stuff, but he's really good at football. So it was basically top 3 picks or so, like him or Bell or Gurley. Maybe you like David Johnson a lot, but you really couldn't go wrong with any of them. So that Eileen took Zeke. I'm okay with that because they're going to run into the ground. Yeah, okay, he missed 6 games last year because, the suspension and everything. And yeah, okay, his center, Travis Frederick, is hurt right now because he has, Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an autoimmune issue. So that's a pretty big loss on their offensive line. He's an all-pro center. But his workload is going to be monstrous. This is a team that likes to run the ball. They were the third highest rushing offense last year in football. He's going to get 25 carries a game and get I don't know, 120 yards maybe a game, 150, 170, if he really breaks a long run or something. So we're talking easy 20 points a game for him. I think he'll average that? I don't know about that. But I think, 14 point, 15 point, 16. Le'Veon Bell's number 2 last year in 16 point. Todd Gurley's 17 point. Elliott's around that neighborhood when he's healthy the whole season. So, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, maybe. Easy pick, great pick, great player. So, yeah, okay. Simple enough. Second round, we take a huge leap of faith. Just we want redemption. Okay, so we take the guy who's been in rehab for ever. We take Josh Gordon. Still living off that 2014 season for Patrick, where Gordon was the best fantasy receiver in the league. Here we are 4 years later. He played 5 games last year, never had more than 5 catches, but his quarterbacks are trash. He missed most of training camp because he had to stay in rehab. Does Josh Gordon have the talent to be a Hall of Fame player? Yeah, he does. Can Josh Gordon keep his head on straight long enough to do that? That's I don't know about that, but I don't think he's not starting in week 1. I'm surprised. Well, no, I guess Eileen's not really paying attention, but he should be in her lineup right now because he's not going to start in week 1. But once he's up to speed, he has more talent than almost any other. Maybe Odell Beckham's more talented than him, but other than that, there's no receiver who has his kind of talent to just take over games. So if he can keep his head on straight and play, easy top 10, top 5 receiver in fantasy. It's a reach to take in the second round because I really don't know if he's going to play the whole season. If you told me he was going to play the whole season, yeah, it's an excellent pick. Second round, absolutely. But I don't know if he's going to. The guy's been in rehab so many times, and he was suspended for a year. It's just so many things could go wrong off the field that you just lose him, he's gone. So it's a huge risk. I would not take this risk this high, but high risk, high reward. I respect that. So. I would not take the risk myself. I don't think anyone else would have either, but high risk, high reward. Maybe it'll pay off. Take Derrick Henry in the third round. So DeMarco Murray's retired now, which is weird. I saw him doing the San Diego State college football game on last Saturday, being an announcer. He's only 30. So this backfield, like, he's got to share with Dion Lewis. They signed Dion Lewis to a $20 million deal. They did that for a reason. I know Andre has Dion Lewis, so they did that because they like Dion Lewis's ability to catch the ball in the backfield. But I think Henry is the guy who's going to get the early round work and really rush the ball. They're changing, again, offenses to be more that St. Louis Rams style, and instead of like having a Todd Gurley bell cow guy, I think Henry's going to be the rusher and Lewis is going to be the pass catcher. So that splits up the work, which isn't great. But when Henry gets going, he's a good player. If you told me he's going to get 15 touches a game, I would take that to the bank because he'd get like 7.5 points, 8.5 points a game. He'd be very good. I mean, he was a top 30 running back last year, and again, he was in a big old timeshare. I think he's in a timeshare again, so it's not great, but like he's a good player. He's a quality running back. He's a starter in our league. I think it was a reach to take him here. I don't really know why. There's no real redemption story. This is just a good dude who's on the team, who's never gotten in trouble, who went to Alabama. Like, there's no real, like, I don't know. But I like him. I don't love him. As my second running back, it's not great, but he's not bad. So, weird pick. Then Eileen took some sleeper picks that I really like. Like, I was hoping to get this guy. So this is Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan, to start off the year, was super duper hot. He was a top 8 receiver, I want to say, in fantasy. To start off the year, he was just crazy, crazy good from like week 2 to like week 8 or so until he got hurt. Like, so that's like 6 weeks. He was like a top 8 receiver in fantasy. And then he basically missed the rest of the season. Like, I think he came back for like 1 game and then got hurt again. So, again, will he stay healthy the whole season? It's kind of like with Gordon, like, will Gordon keep his head on straight on the whole season? I mean, his past 5 years of history say no. Will Chris Hogan stay healthy the whole season? His past 3 years of history say no, but, like, if he did, it would be a good sleeper pick. I mean, especially with Julian Edelman hurt right now, like, they got nobody. They got Gronk and nobody. Like, Philip Dorsett is the number 2 receiver behind Hogan right now. Like, Philip, the failed former first-round pick of Indianapolis. Like, Hogan's got to be, like, if he's anywhere near as good as he was to start off the season last year and finds a way to stay healthy, he's an excellent, excellent number 2 receiver. So these are good players if they can stay healthy. It's just a question of, will they stay healthy? And I'm going to say I doubt it, but, 50-50. Take a shot. If him or if either of those 2 picks, him or Gordon, play the whole season and are healthy, then it was worth taking them both because they have that kind of crazy upside. So, and then you know what? She did supplement it with another good pick, a quality pick in the next round. She took Demaryius Thomas. I like Demaryius Thomas. He's super solid. Very, very safe pick. So he is the number 1 receiver for the Broncos. That's a mostly rushing offense now. But they did go out and get Case Keenum, who's a quality quarterback. I don't think he's great. He's solid, maybe average. But, that's good enough. They got in terrible quarterback play. And with terrible quarterback play, Demaryius Thomas was a top 25 fantasy receiver. So, is he a top 20 receiver with Case Keenum? Absolutely. Is he top 15? Maybe. Could I see top 10? Probably not. But, he's your flex. He could be, if Gordon and or Hogan don't work out, he's a starter on your team. He's a number 2 starter in our league for sure. So at wide receiver. So yeah, that's a good quality pickup. I think he could get 900 yards, 5 touchdowns, and that's a starter. I'll take that. Take it to the bank. It's good enough. He averaged like close to 8 points a game last year. If he can average like 9, boom. Take it to the bank all day, every day. That's a top 20 receiver. Boom. That's great. That's great for a flex. I actually kind of like Eileen's draft. We take Chris Thompson the next round. Now, Thompson was a top 10 running back for the first 11 weeks of last season. I say the first 11 because he broke his leg. Eek. And he's come out and said, yeah, I'm not 100% yet. And that's not really all that encouraging. But he's not on the injury report either. Do I think he can do what he did last year? No. Adrian Peterson's back there, so Adrian Peterson's going to see a lot of work. Got a new quarterback, Alex Smith. But Alex Smith does like to throw the ball to his running backs. Case in point, Kareem Hunt. So do I see that top 10 running back in fantasy potential? I don't. But he was, basically him missing like the last half, like 6 games of the season, he was still a top 30 running back. So could he be a top 20 running back if he stays healthy the whole season? I would say yes. Yes, he would. Will he stay healthy the whole season? I don't know. That's tough. I mean, maybe because Adrian Peterson's back there to take some of the workload, that's good for him. Because, like, really, I really only want Chris Thompson to touch the ball maybe 10 times a game. If he touches the ball 10 times a game, chances are he probably had a pretty good game. He gets a lot of yards, like, off receptions. Like, he's, again, another good, like, James White kind of is a good pass-catching back, all right? And Tevin Coleman out of Atlanta is a good pass-catching back, all right? Chris Thompson's one of those guys. He's a really good pass-catching back, and he's probably, like, again, if he can stay healthy, just get 15 touches a game, get a little bit of workload, get that third-round work. He's a quality player. He's a flex in our league, and you got him as your backup running back. That's a good pick. So, Eileen had a very solid draft. We take Jack Doyle. I usually don't like taking tight ends too high, but, it's 6th round. Maybe you just want to fill a starter. And to his credit, Doyle was a number 9 tight end last year, and that was without Andrew Luck. That was with Jacoby Brissett as the starter. And he won a championship on Andre's team. And I think there's potential for more there. I think he could be possibly top 5 tight end if Luck uses him right. If not, he'll still be a top 10 tight end, and that's not. I think that's a little bit of an overdraft in this round, but it's not a bad pick either because you're filling a need with a guy who's consistently been healthy, and it's the only guy there, and they need pass catchers. It's literally him and T.Y. Hilton. And I don't love T.Y., but someone has to catch the ball, so I think Doyle will get touchdowns, and that's really what makes him valuable. So that's not a bad pick. You double that up with Andrew Luck in the next round. Again, do I love the reach? I'm not totally, against it. I don't love it because it's quarterback, but you know how Jose took Kirk Cousins in this round, and Andre took Jimmy Garoppolo? As solid as I think Kirk Cousins is, and as much upside as I think Jimmy Garoppolo has, I think Andrew Luck was actually the better pick than both of them. And the reason for that is when Andrew Luck's healthy the whole season, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Take to the bank. Like, sample size-wise, Jimmy Garoppolo had 5 games. Now, I really believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. I believe in him. But historically, Andrew Luck has been the guy. Like, I think Kirk Cousins is a good player. I think he's on a good offense, and he's been very solid. He's been a top 10 quarterback the last 3 years. But again, when Andrew Luck is healthy, he missed a whole season, but when he's played a whole season, every other year, he's been a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. So, is he going to be healthy? I don't know. Is it worth using a pick here on him? It's kind of like, Kirk Cousins. I said I didn't love it. I would have loved it 2 rounds later. It's kind of like that. If it was a round later, I would love the pick. But I think he's better than the other two just purely on, basically, I think there's a higher chance of Andrew Luck reaching his upside than there is of the other two reaching their upsides, so to speak, if that makes sense. So I do like this pick. I like Andrew Luck. I drafted him myself last year in the 10th round. So you got him in the 8th, and he's obviously healthier than he was last year. So I think he'll be very good for you. I'm much more comfortable taking I think Andrew Luck's far and away better than Cam Newton, and Cam Newton went 3 rounds earlier, so that just gives you an idea of what I think of Cam Newton and Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's better by a lot. It's not close. So do I love the pick? No. Do I feel it was a reach? No. Would I do it? No. But is it a good pick? Yes. Next round, we take Jordy Nelson. So Jordy is now in Oakland. He played in Green Bay. He got hurt a lot. I think Brian took him like really high last year. It was just super bad mistake. Don't do that. Don't take receivers over 30 in the first round, guys. But it's a thin receiving core. So like Michael Crabtree's gone. They don't really have a slot guy. Marshawn Lynch runs the ball, and Amari Cooper's coming off a bad year. I really like Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper's going to have like a bounce back. I think Amari Cooper's a good player, but like Amari Cooper went in like the third round. This is like the ninth round. I mean, we're looking at some of the players on the board. Andre's starting to go defense. Giovanni Bernard went to like Vivian, Charles Clay, like Mohamed Sanu, Kelvin Benjamin, Cortland Sutton, Aaron Jones, James White, Jamison Crowder. Would it surprise me if Jordy Nelson is more productive than every single guy I just named in this round? No, it wouldn't. And that's what makes it a good pick. Like, do I believe in Jordy Nelson personally? No, I don't. But he has flashes still. He's not dead. I mean, there's a reason Oakland paid him in the offseason. Like, he doesn't have the same speed that he once had, but he's still a quality red zone target. And if what Gruden says is true and they want to throw the ball more, then you know what? He's a good player. He's a good player. That's just the short and long of it. I think he'll be better than he was last year. He was barely a top 50 receiver last year. If he can stay healthy, he's a top 30 receiver. Again, another interesting flex option. And really, that's terrific value at this level of the board. So next pick, true redemption pick, we take Eric Berry. Right now, he's questionable for this week. I don't think he even practiced yesterday, so I don't know. That's a little scary. And he basically played one game last year, got hurt in that game, then missed the rest of the season. But Eric Berry is an all-pro when he plays for the Chiefs. He's probably the best safety in football when he plays. The problem is he going to be healthy the whole season? I don't know. I would bet on it. Honestly, I would, but it still kind of sucks to take a guy who literally missed all of last season. But in the pick, like, you can find a safety. She has another safety on her roster. I mean, you can just cut him if he doesn't work out, so that's okay. Reach for taking Gostkowski. Kickers are useless. He was top 1 or 2 at his position last year. I think averaged like 10 points a game. Still, kickers are useless. Don't care. So moving on, he took Christian Kirksey. Kirksey's a linebacker for Cleveland. I think Cleveland's defense is legit, to be frank. He was top 10 at his position last year because he saw so much volume because they were terrible. I think he's the best linebacker in there, better than Jamie Collins, who they paid. I think he's the best linebacker on the team. He's going to get a lot of tackles, so that's good. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in football. You got him. He just got re-signed, so that's great for you. He was the best defensive tackle last year. I think maybe you can find someone better on free agency just because, like, a defensive end will score more, but it's still a good find. Like, Donald was the number 1 defensive tackle last year, and he'll give you 9 points a game. That's solid. You took Sean Davis. I'm not really sure why you're not running double. I thought we explained this last year with the whole double linebacker thing. Like, you and Ryan are going like, let's go double safety. I'm like, why? Linebackers get more tackles than them. At defensive player, you have 4 defensive players. You have a linebacker, a defensive line, a defensive back, which stands for DB. DP means defensive player. You can play literally anyone on defense there. It's kind of like a flex. So I don't understand why you would play a second safety when safeties don't get as many tackles as linebackers. You should always play a second linebacker at defensive player. And so I don't understand why. I mean, Sean Davis is a nice player to have, I guess, at safety. He averaged like 10.5 points at safety. He's top 10 in his position. But, like, you should get a linebacker to start there. End of story. So I don't know if Eileen's going to watch this video, but, like, someone should tell her that she should get a linebacker to start defensive player because it's otherwise a waste. We got Kalen Ballage in the next round. So Ballage, Matt Berry's talking him up, deep sleeper. I was actually thinking about taking him late in the draft because I like Kenyon Drake. I do. And Jose has Kenyon Drake, and I like Frank Gore, and Jose has Frank Gore too. But if you were to tell me Kenyon Drake gets hurt and Frank Gore is really old and doesn't have any more, could this guy be something? Yeah, I could see that. He's big, fast, physical. He's a freak, but like he's just he never really put it together in college. But he's played well in the preseason for whatever that's worth. Which I mean, the way I look at preseason is they don't count, but they do matter. So he's the number 3 running back on the team right now, behind Drake and Gore. I don't think he'll get touches anytime soon, but it's just a deep round flyer. Maybe like if something happens to those two guys, 8 weeks in the league in the draft, and then Balaj just comes out of nowhere. I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of. Alvin Kamara kind of thing. Like that's why I like him a lot, because he's got that like potential, just like hide in the weeds. David Johnson, Alvin Kamara. Don't really know what to do with him. In college, they didn't use him correctly. Shows up on a team, everyone gets injured, and then this guy just shows out. We got TJ Logan next. Another handcuff. Good for her for getting handcuffs. She got David Johnson's. I think Logan's the 3rd back in that backfield, so I don't love that because it's like him or Chase Edmonds. I'd rather figure out who's the guy. But, again, just like he's the kicker returner in the wings. If Johnson gets hurt, quality handcuff. Do I think Eileen should have Rod Smith instead of TJ Logan? Yeah, I do, but that's me. It's her team. Take a shot in the dark. It's late in the draft, 16th round. Who cares? It's just like this next pick, Curtis Samuel. So I think he's missing the first week for an irregular heartbeat, but that's fine. Like, does Carolina throw the ball enough for my taste that I think Samuel will get the ball enough? I don't think so. But, if Cam Newton turns back the clock and it's his MVP year, someone's got to catch the ball. And far be it for me to say that Devin Funchess is more talented than this guy, because that ain't true. All right, Curtis Samuel should be like Devin McCaffrey. If McCaffrey is the best offensive player other than Newton on that offense, Samuel's number 2. All right, he's a big play waiting to happen. He's got speed and he can just fly. So if Newton figured out how to be accurate downfield, it'd be even better. But, just a quiet sleeper. You miss half the season. But, you take shots. You take shots, and then after 3 or 4 weeks, if you don't think you got anything, you cut them. It's not a big deal. And then, for fun, she took Blake Bortles. And, I hate on Blake Bortles. I think he's terrible. He's garbage, and I watch him play. But, he finished the season nice last year. Up until week 17, where he literally, had, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, and, scored, 3 points in fantasy because he's trash. Blake Bortles is trash. But, if you want to take a backup quarterback in the 18th round, I don't really care who it is. It's the 18th round. Maybe Blake Bortles turns back the clock. Stranger things have happened. Nathan Peterman's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Take your shot. Shoot your shot. You never know. It's late in the draft. Take some upside. So, good for you. So, usually with Eileen, it's kind of what are you doing, Eileen? You're kind of just all over the place. You're taking players. It's kind of weird. And, you need depth. True. I think you should cut Sean Davis, or actually probably Eric Berry, who's not practicing, and figure something out. Maybe if Logan or Samuel aren't anything, you maybe drop one for Rod Smith, who is your handcuff for Ezekiel Elliott. Consider that. Maybe if Elliott were to get hurt, Rod Smith is going to take all those touches, so you might as well, just in case. But this is a good team. This is the best draft Eileen's ever had. It's kind of incredible. And for as much interesting ways Eileen drafts, I don't know if she's aware of this. I doubt she'll even watch this video. But Eileen doesn't really care about fantasy football or real football, but the fact that she's been in our league for so many years, I'm sure she's picked something up. And yeah, Sarah, was there to walk her through this draft too, and they were going over players and things, but would I take her draft over Sarah's? I would. Would I take her draft over Justin's? I would. Would I take it over Max? I would. So, in a surprise, Eileen, you are in the top 5 drafts of this league this year. Surprise, surprise. you get a B minus, a little bit above average. So good on you. I don't know if you'll be able to like do the right things during the season to, make that championship run, but you could. And I can't say that about many other teams, but you could. It's a possibility. So good on you. I like your draft. Good job.